Hello and welcome to Emergent Soul Conversations, the podcast promoting self-love and awareness with the hopes of developing sisterhood and community. We will be discussing concepts that pull on the hearts of today's woman. I'm your host, Karen Elaine, and I will share my life experiences along with inviting others to sit down with me who inspire me and also have a willingness to share their soul's journey. This podcast will give us meaningful and intimate conversations that'll help us create a life by design and not default. If this is your first time listening in, I thank you. Now on till today's episode. When you think of having great emotional health and balance, I'm sure you're going to think of terms such as happiness, self-esteem, being self-confident, optimistic, or even possessing mental toughness. But if you thought of ideas such as self-acceptance and contentment, you're one of the few. But I ask you, isn't contentment what we're all seeking? Contentment is the place where we don't need anything and we're completely satisfied with all areas in our life. Every day, what are the things that you're doing and taking effort in to feel more content? How many times did you say or do something just to impress someone else? How many times did you say or do something just to avoid being ridiculed by someone else? Here's a good one. Do you work on a job that you don't like in order to earn more money just to buy things you want or just to impress someone else? Or this one. You exercise and diet beyond what is reasonable just to look a certain way. Are you doing it because you like the way you look or you're trying to get validation from someone else? Think about it. The list is really endless. But every day we are seeking that feeling of trying to feel content. But these things are not the path to radical contentment. The real secret is self-acceptance. Brené Brown says, the truth is, belonging starts with self-acceptance. Your level of belonging, in fact, can never be greater than your level of self-acceptance. Because believing that you're enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic, vulnerable, and imperfect. And it's that imperfection that is the true reality. Because being perfect is just an illusion. Now, there are several ways to look at self-acceptance, and some are more constructive than others. And I don't want you to sit here thinking that having self-acceptance gives you a blanket acceptance for all of your weaknesses, bad habits, and negative tendencies in the absence of having and being responsible and providing an effort to continue to improve. Self-acceptance is not an excuse for being lazy or complacent, because you can be content and still be an advocate for self-improvement. And self-improvement is what I am advocating. It doesn't mean that you accept fate and say that there's nothing that can be done in your life and you can't move forward to change it. It's having that reckoning within yourself. It's acknowledging your shortcomings, your strengths, your habits and tendencies. It's having the ability to look yourself straight in the mirror and look in your eyes and facing the truth and accepting reality. That you know where you are and you're going to take every effort to move forward and make a plan. Self-acceptance will lead you to contentment because you know what? You're no longer fighting with yourself. Let's face it, you can't be your number one fan and your number one enemy because it's self-defeating. So I'm inviting you to free yourself from the self-punishment so you can be healed. Because it's a time that you release yourself from the negative thoughts that are holding you back, and you can accept where you're at. You're setting yourself on a beautiful journey towards contentment, inner peace, happiness, and self-love. Now, I know it's easier said than done, but trust me, isn't seeking self-acceptance in order to have self-love what we desire? And isn't that the path that we should take so we can become the person that we're meant to be, so we can walk and live in our purpose? It's challenging, but you are enough. I am enough. And remember, what happens to you does not define who you are. You can make a change once you stop punishing yourself and accept that you are imperfect and you are where you're supposed to be with the ability to make the changes that you want. Thank you for listening to this episode of Emergent Soul Conversations. Join me next time to gain more insights on how to live a life by design and not default. If this was your first time tuning into the show, please make sure and hit the subscribe button below and follow me on Instagram at Emergent Soul. Remember, what happens to you does not define you. Your Emergent Soul.